Welcome back to Aim Small. Thanks for watching this video to start off with. So today we're gonna not shoot for accuracy, we're gonna shoot for optimal setup of the BRK Ghost for pellets. So I've got the BRK Ghost in high power. Yes, this is the one that can go up all the way to 65 foot-pound energy, and I did do a video about this about a couple of months ago already, showing that what you need to do to get that up to that type of power setting. But today it's not about the power, it's about finding that optimal range. So I've done a couple of things to the gun. First and foremost, I've got the regulator down to round about 115 bar, if you can trust the gauge. There's a humor gauge, so it should be quite accurate. And then I've inserted the white spring, the absolute softest spring that there is for the Ghost currently. So that's my setup for today. I do have all 5 springs. If I can't find the perfect setting for my pellets, then I will insert a different spring and see if I can shoot it that way. The ideal would be, and this is a tall order, the ideal would be to shoot 16 grain pellets, 18 grain pellets, as well as 25 grain pellets at a decent speed from the gun. So I've got 20 power settings to do it in, which I think is plenty and ample. The challenge is going to be finding the right regulator pressure and the right spring combination to be able to do that. So my ideal speed for the 15 grainers is quite slow, and that's where the challenge comes in. The 16 grainers, 15.89, I love to shoot them anywhere between 840 and 870 feet per second. The 18 grainers I love at 870 feet per second. And then the challenge, the 25 grainers, I like to shoot them at close to 900 feet per second, 910 thereabouts. So can I find a spring and regulator configuration that I can shoot all 3 of those projectiles at my desired speeds without having to change anything on my gun except for the power wheel? That's going to be the challenge for today. So I've preempted this a little bit. As I said, regulator down to about 115 bar, white spring in the back, and I've also adjusted the crony to pick up this specific pellet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot a couple of shots. I'll edit it as fast as I humanly can, just to give you guys an indication. But I quickly want to see what is the difference between the different power settings, and I'm going to shoot 3 shots per power setting, plus minus 3. I'll skip a few if I see that there's nice increments. But in fact, with the 18 grainers as my starting point, this should give me quite a good indication of how low can I go with the power, as well as how high before I run into trouble in that regard. Okay, so let's shoot a couple of shots here. Alright, so let's start off on the absolute minimum power. Hit 3 shots, see what the speed is, and then see if there's a difference between the power settings going up, and then I'll jump a few power settings in between. Alright, the spring has settled in at about 786 feet per second. Slightly slow. Let's go up 2. Right, I can see the spring needs a couple of shots to settle in. Round about 825. That's not too bad. Let's move it up a little bit more. It's power setting 7. On power setting 7, I'm already reaching the speed I want to shoot these pellets on at around about 880. Might go 1 power setting lower. Yeah, let's go 1 power setting lower, and I'll make a note of this one. Get that spring to settle. Perfect. Looks like I got lucky. 870, ideal speed in my opinion for these pellets. At this speed, they actually do quite well in the wind, and they are laser accurate. Okay, that is at power setting 6, low reg. I might get lucky today that I don't have to do too many adjustments or too many fine tuning. Let's pump it up a little bit. Let's see what the top speed looks like. Power setting 15. 946 at power setting 15. Let's go all the way to max. I know I need to shoot these at close to 1,000 feet a second to be able to shoot the 25 grainers as well. Let's go to maximum power. Not a huge difference there between the power setting 15 and power setting 20. So that indicates to me that the regulator can be opened a little bit more so that we can get the full range of the power wheel on that specific spring. So the moment your spring runs out of oomph, you'll see that your top speed is going to flatten out. So there's not much of a difference between your power setting 15 and your power setting 20. It means that the spring is hitting a little bit too hard at that stage. So even with full power on the spring, or full hammer hitting, there's not enough air to push it up. So that's indicating that the spring is maxed out at this stage. Let me shoot a couple more. Let's just double check. Yep, spring is maxed out. Down to power 17. Let's see if there's a drop in speed. Alright, very small drop in speed. Tells me at this stage that I need a little bit more reg pressure to go through the full range. So I'm going to increase the reg pressure by 7 or 8 bar. I'm going to keep it as low as possible, and then I'm going to shoot again. Alright, so I've increased the The reg pressure is up to 125 bar at this stage. Let's see what my speed is at maximum. Ooh, that's a nice increase in speed. Now the question is, if I go down 2 power settings, will the speed actually drop? That will be the test if the regulator is now at optimal range. That's not bad. It's settled down there. Let's go back up to maximum. Very small difference there. I think I can up it 5 bar more to get to that desired level I want to. But first I need to go and refill quickly. Just wait a second. I had a look at the bottle pressure now, and something didn't compute. My first initial shot was at 980 and now 970. So I quickly topped up the gun. So let's redo that exercise quickly. Back to 200 bar on the bottle, 125.237 bar at my regulator. Maximum power, let's rip it. Okay, that's a little bit better. A little bit of inconsistency, but these pellets are horrible. I'm using a batch, pardon the language, that I call bad shit. Alright, reason for that, this is the worst tin of pellets I've ever had. Nothing against the manufacturer. I think this is just a batch of pellets I bought from somebody that sorted all this shit out, put it into a tin, gave it to me. Right, so 970, between 970 and 980. Let's drop it by 2 on the power wheel. And there's a definite difference speed. Or maybe not. Back to max. Now, definite difference in speed between my power level, what's that? I don't know how these guys count. 17, 18, 20. 17 to max. Alright. Probably because there's a minimum that's supposed to be 0. Okay, so definitely I think I'm happy at that stage. But now I need to check, will it suffice? Will I get my optimal speed with the 15.89 grains as well as the 23 grainers? So let's just see at what power setting my optimal speed is. Remember, it was at power setting 6. Let's see if it's still at power setting 6 after I adjusted the power a little bit, or the regulator a little bit. Power level 6, I'm aiming for 870 odd feet a second. Oh, that's as close to perfect as I can get. Oh, I'm getting just a variable speeds here. Let's go one power level up to 7. That's a lot better, 870. I do expect a little bit of variance in the speed for two basic reasons. First, it's a kak batch of pellets. Kak is Afrikaans for poofy. It's a poofy batch of pellets that I've got. And secondly, the spring has got, what now, 100 shots through it. The spring hasn't settled either because it's a brand spanking new spring out of the box. That's been put into the gun, and it's extremely easy to do. Just go and have a look at some of the BRK Ghost servicing videos. Extremely easy to do. Right, so let me go and fetch the 15.89 grainers quickly, as well as the 25.39 grainers, and see if the gun will do what I asked it to do. That only took a second for you. It took about 3 minutes for me. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look for 870 feet per second with the 15 grainers. I don't have to check the maximums and the minimums this time around. I'm just looking for that optimal speed. I've got my power wheel set to only 5. I think that's going to be the magic number. Still gives me a lot of room to play if I want to go down slower for pest control. Quiet it down a little bit. Alright, so this is now at power setting 5. Ha ha ha, spot on first shot. Let's get the spring to settle a bit. Little bit fast, but still laser accurate. Let's go one down to power setting 4. Get the spring to settle down. I'm happy with that. Brilliant. 125 bar, white spring, 600mm barrel. Alright, one more to go. Let's quickly swap to the 25.39 grainers. Alright, what felt like a second to you was another couple of minutes for me. Alright, so what I've done now is exactly the same settings, except I've got the power wheel up to 15, so I'm close to the max in that regard. I've got the 25.39 grain JSBs loaded, redesigns, and I'm aiming for close to 900 feet a second. I think that's my optimal speed for these pellets. Let's go for it. Ooh, that's way too slow. They're shooting at about 815, 820 feet per second. They are a laser at my target at 30 meters. Let's up the power to max. If I can get 840, 845, maybe 850, I'll take it. I so wish I had the camera at the target this morning. I was not supposed to shoot accuracy, but that was impressive. Alright, so 850, that's not bad. So now I've got the ability to shoot pellets from 15.89 grain. I still need to check what's the slowest I can shoot them. Alright, so that's the fastest I can shoot these. Let's quickly check how slow I can shoot them. The 15.89 grainer. So let's go all the way down to minimum power. Let's see how slow they can go. 15 grainers, slow as you can go, minimum power. Okay, I think I found the perfect setup. So with a single setup, white spring into the 600mm high power barrel, fag edition, that sounds so not right. High powered edition sounds a lot better. Regulator at 125 bar, which is reasonable. Your shot count will improve. I'm going to go through shot count now at preferable speeds and see how the shot count differs between the 15 grainers at optimal speed, the 18 grainers at optimal speed versus the 25.39 grainers at 950 or 850 feet per second. Not totally optimal, but close enough. So, conclusion. No, it's not a conclusion yet. There's still a section to come. Perfect setup in my opinion. Luckily, this is my opinion, and opinion is like an a-hole. Everybody's got one, so this is my opinion. And nearly said a-hole again. You can shoot 15 grainers from power setting 4.5 about at optimal speed. You can shoot 18 grainers with 2 power levels up, and mine power level 7 at optimal speed. And then you can shoot at maximum power 25.39 grain. So that's where's my calculations? More than 10 grain difference in pellet with a single setup to the gun. No need to go and fiddle around whatever. Yes, you can up the regulator a little bit more. I think it will become, in that regard, a little bit, you can increase that top speed, but then you're going to start battling on the lower speeds. You might shoot your 16 grain pellets from a power setting 1 or even minimum power in that regard. So with the setup as is, absolutely love it. The only thing that remains is shot count. How many shots can I get per fill out of these shots? And for that, I'm going to need the crony to be on par. So let's go and do that exercise. Now this is where you're going to enjoy fast editing, I promise you, because you don't want to sit here and look at the chronograph go beep, 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 beep. So I've got the regulated plus minus 190 bar, don't have a digital gauge. So from 190 bar, I'm going to shoot it with the 15 grains until it falls off the regulator, where I definitely see there's a speed drop, and then I'll post the numbers for you quickly. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, at one stage you need to just give up. You're not going to get it. Alright, so what happened is that I shot 150 shots. 150 with that one full of 190 bar. It looks like at one stage, previously when I shot the gun, I had the regulated about 75-80 bar, but that was the black spring, the heavy spring, to get the gun to shoot these pellets at a decent speed. Now all of a sudden, I've got a 150 shot string, but it increased ever so slightly as the bottle dropped below the regulator. Yes, it was actually below the regulator. So my suspicion is I'll get another 50 shots at least before I see a drop in velocity in this regard. But I'm going to stop here because I'm now tired. 150 shots later and I'm still not out of air. I'm not going to repeat this with the 18 grainers. Let's try this at maximum power with the redesigns. See if I get less shots there, because 150 is just ridiculous.
Now hold your horses, I say, hold your horses. Something wasn't adding up. And this is what I realized. So if I look at the shot string, more than 150 shots. That is a massive amount of shots. But look on the right hand side, look at that increase. So every time I changed magazines, the first shot was closer to where I was actually aiming for. The rest I shot basically rapid fire. And the speed kept on creeping up. My last shot was in excess of 900 foot per second. Now you need to ask yourself, why is this happening? And then it hit me. The rec pressure is way, way too high. So initially, when you shoot, the valve gets closed quite quickly because of the pressure that's in the bottle. And for that reason, you get that initial slow speed. But as the bottle pressure reduces, the speed picks up. In other words, that same amount of pressure is not there to close the valve after the hammer hit it. In other words, the short version, rec pressure is too high. And for that reason, you get this escalating shot count. So this is not the optimal, ultimate, super duper pooper setting for 18 grain or 16 grain pellets. But did I see the same effect when it came to the 25 grainers at maximum power, where the hammer is hitting as hard as humanly possible? Let's have a quick look.
Right, so let's quickly do the exercise with the 25.39 grains. I'm not going to show you the whole shot string. I'll put the results up for you. Let's see how many shots I can get out of maximum power. Same settings, around about 190 bar until it falls off the regulator. Let's go for this.
Immediately I saw that the average speeds were a lot more consistent. The spread was lower. The average high versus low, everything was norm. It almost flattened out. So this is a great indication to say that the regulator pressure and the hammer spring is working a lot together. They're almost in that perfect scenario where you will get the optimal shot count. The gun is working at optimal speed. So this is a better setting, although too low for the 25 grainer.
Sure, that was an expensive exercise, sitting here just pushing pellets, shooting a decent grouping in the process, but speed shooting pellets, it's not that much fun. But in any case, I got 67 shots before I saw a slight drop in the speed out of that. On maximum power, 125 bar, 67 shots, 25 grainers at 850 feet per second. I can live with that. So in short, I think with the white spring, ideal to go down to pellets. The one thing I don't like about the two softer spring in that regard is the fact that there's a little bit of inconsistency versus spring balance versus regulator, but that can be balanced out as you fine tune the gun a little bit more in that regard. But I think I found the ideal tune for my current needs in this regard. I might want to push one of the other springs in later to see if I can't push these 25.39 grain pellets a little bit faster. They were laser accurate at this stage. Even with a slight breeze from right to left, didn't affect it too much, but I still need to do some more work there. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing and liking. See you in the next one.
That's all, folks.